I reviewed a lot of iPhones over the past year, and something that's always been difficult is finding good recommendations for iPhones that still get the latest iOS updates while also being kind of affordable. But that's all about to change because we currently have rumors for the iPhone SE4 generation /16e that's going to come out sometime between March and April, cost around $500, and feature Apple's latest processors. So in this video, I'm going to go take a look at some of these rumors, but also kind of give you guys some perspective as to where this would go in my value lineup compared to other iPhones that are out there, like the iPhone 14, for example. So we have this first article by Tech Radar, and it looks like they're mentioning a little bit about the iPhone SE4 generation design from this post by Sony Dixon. And if we view this here, it looks like we got something that kind of looks like the iPhone 14. However, there are a few differences here that I see. Probably the first obvious thing you're going to notice is this bigger singular camera bump. So the iPhone 14 had an ultra wide camera down here at the bottom, but this just has this one singular camera that's going to be a 48 megapixel camera. As for color options, it only looks like we have black and white, which I was really hoping to see something like a nice blue or a pink, kind of like what they did with the iPhone 16. But knowing Apple, they want to give people a reason to buy the latest phone. And speaking of Apple doing things to get people to buy the latest phone, if you look on the side here, we have a mute switch. Now the iPhone 16, the iPhone 15 Pro, they have that action button, but it looks like Apple is just giving us a mute switch. There's also some other design things here too that do look a little bit different. If you look really closely at the frame of these phones, it almost looks like the brushed titanium of the iPhone 15 Pro, which I know for a fact they would not put titanium on a budget iPhone. But what I think this is maybe brushed aluminum, and it looks like a really nice premium look, and I hope they maybe bring this to like the future regular lineup, like the iPhone 17. And then these photos don't really show it, but it's also gonna have USB-C charging to comply with the EU's regulations. And then for the actual internals of this phone, GSM Arena has kind of collected all this different information about it, and they say it's going to have the Apple A18 chip, which means it's going to support Apple Intelligence, which is really nice to see on a phone that costs $500. It also looks like too that it's going to have that 48 megapixel camera, of course, like what we were saying earlier. And then I'm also assuming it's going to have Wi-Fi 7, kind of like what they added with like the iPhone 16s, but maybe I could be wrong. So it says right down here, Wi-Fi 802.11. So I don't know if that means some version of Wi-Fi 6 or if we're gonna get Wi-Fi 7. But anyways, Wi-Fi 6 is a pretty good upgrade now because most routers don't even support versions of Wi-Fi 6. And over here it says it's gonna have eSIM, but as you know, in some other countries, they may have like the physical SIM card tray. And then looking at a little bit into the camera specs, it does say a 48 megapixel camera. They might also add some other camera features as well, like visual intelligence to maybe search up things and photos. But I don't think Apple's gonna go too crazy on the camera features because the iPhone 16's selling point really is all these extra camera features that they added to it. And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering as well, how would this compare value-wise to the iPhone 14? And I kind of compiled a list of upgrades here. So like USB-C charging, of course, the 18 chip, Apple Intelligence. But some things in here are kind of like iffy. Like I don't know if it's gonna get visual intelligence for looking up stuff or smart HDR5 or like Wi-Fi 6 to Wi-Fi 7. But those were some minor improvements that the iPhone 16 had. And looking at past trends from what they added to, iPhone SEs in the past, you may be able to expect that, but there's no rumors confirming this. This is just stuff that I'm assuming from past instances. And then of course, there's some downgrades too. No ultra wide or telephoto, or at least no physical lens for that. They may find some other way to implement it with that 48 megapixel camera, because if you're able to capture more detail in the photo, obviously when you zoom in, it'll hold that detail better. But that really seems to be about it for downgrades. So overall, the iPhone SE 4th generation /16e is holding up to be a pretty interesting upgrade. So where would this phone sit on my list of recommendations? Well, I would still say that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is my favorite for the bigger screen size because it has the same processor as the 14 Plus, but you also gain some other features like the 120 Hz display that in my opinion is better than any AI feature that these newer iPhones have. And then the iPhone 13 Pro would be my favorite for tech features and camera features in an average size phone. And the iPhone 13, I would say, is still going to be my top pick for a budget phone. And the reason why I say that is currently the iPhone 13 is $330. I expect it in April, around the time that this phone is released, that's going to be around $300. And the reason why I say that is people are trading it to get the 16, but also this phone will be out and there's a little bit of competition there. Where I think the iPhone SE4 is going to be a pretty good upgrade for people is those who are coming from an iPhone XS or an iPhone 11, where they don't really care too much about all those technical features and they really just want an iPhone that's going to last them a long time without spending a ton of money. Now, a lot of this stuff is still just rumors. Things can change within the next month or two before this iPhone is released, but realistically, you can expect it to come out sometime between late March to April is what we're seeing. And this is based off of when we're seeing all these case leaks come out. I also might have to break character too and buy this phone and actually do a new unboxing review, which is going to be a first for this channel. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to check out a review on the iPhone 14, which is pretty similar to this rumored iPhone SE4/16e that's about to come out, I'm going to put that video up on screen. Thank you all again, and goodbye.